The internet is on fire tonight, and if you blink, you missed the moment that sent shockwaves across sports and hip-hop alike. What started as a routine red carpet appearance exploded into a viral showdown when Claressa Shields and Remy Ma found themselves face-to-face in an intense confrontation no one saw coming. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the cameras? They caught everything. Witnesses say the air turned icy the second their eyes locked. Claressa, the undefeated boxing queen known for never backing down, stood her ground, jaw tight, shoulders squared. Remy Ma, hip-hop royalty with a reputation for raw honesty and zero tolerance for disrespect, didn't flinch. Words were exchanged, voices were raised, and in a matter of seconds, what should have been a glamorous night spiraled into chaos. Social media erupted instantly. Clips began circulating with captions screaming, "This is crazy," and "Someone hold them back." Fans are replaying the footage frame by frame, trying to read lips, analyze body language, and uncover the real reason behind the clash. Was it a long simmering feud? A comment taken the wrong way? Or a betrayal that finally boiled over in public? Those closest to both stars were left divided, some rushing in to pull them apart, others frozen in disbelief. Security stepped closer. Phones shot up, and just like that, a single heated moment became the most talked about face-off of the year. But here's the real question. What sparked this confrontation, and why now? Because what you're about to hear goes far deeper than a viral clip, and by the end of this story, you might see both women very differently. The moment after the cameras cut did not cool the tension, it poured gasoline on it. Claressa Shields stood just inches away from Remy Ma, her chest rising and falling as the noise of the crowd faded into a low buzz. People nearby swear they could feel it, that electric pressure when two forces refused to back down. Security hesitated, unsure whether this was just words or something more. Remy tilted her head slightly, lips curling into a smile that wasn't friendly, the kind that says you said something you can't take back. Claressa broke the silence first, her voice sharp, controlled, but loud enough for everyone close by to hear. She said she was tired of being played with, tired of slick comments and behind-the-scenes disrespect. Fans standing a few feet away froze, phones shaking as they tried to capture every second. Emotions ran high, and nobody wanted to miss what felt like a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Remy shot back immediately, her tone dripping with sarcasm. She said she didn't fear titles, belts, or reputations, and that if Claressa wanted attention, she picked the wrong person to test. Those words hit hard, and Claressa's eyes narrowed. Witnesses say this wasn't random. This wasn't two celebrities bumping into each other. This was something building for weeks, maybe months. Insiders later whispered that Remy had made comments during a private event, comments questioning Claressa's authenticity and the way she carried herself outside the ring. Claressa reportedly heard about it through mutual friends, and from that moment on, the tension never left the room, even when they were miles apart. As the crowd grew thicker, voices from the background began to chime in. Some shouted Claressa's name, cheering her on, while others yelled Remy's lyrics like battle cries. Fans are shocked at how quickly it split the room. One side praised Claressa for standing up for herself, calling her fearless and real. The other side backed Remy, saying she was being targeted for speaking her mind. The family members and close friends who were present looked visibly stressed. Claressa's cousin tried to step in, whispering for her to walk away, reminding her of cameras and consequences. Remy's entourage closed ranks, forming a subtle wall behind her, eyes locked on Claressa as if daring her to take another step forward. The argument shifted when Claressa brought up loyalty. Her voice cracked just slightly, and that tiny break told everyone this wasn't just public drama. She accused Remy of switching up, of pretending to be supportive in private while throwing shade in public spaces. She said she had receipts, messages, proof that would make everything clear if she decided to speak fully. The crowd reacted instantly. Gasps, murmurs, phones zooming in closer. The word receipts hung in the air like a threat. Remy laughed, but it was forced. She fired back that Claressa should stop playing victim, that not everything was about her, and that if she wanted to expose something, she better be ready for what comes back. At that point, security finally moved in, placing hands between them, but neither woman stopped talking. They leaned around the guards, voices overlapping, accusations flying. Claressa accused Remy of trying to insert herself into boxing conversations she didn't understand. Remy clapped back, saying Claressa didn't own toughness, that she came from a world where words could be just as lethal as fists. Emotions ran high as the two worlds collided, sports and hip-hop crashing together in real time. Fans watching live streams at home flooded the comments with fire emojis, shocked reactions, and theories about what really sparked this. behind the scenes, producers and event organizers were panicking. This wasn't in the schedule. This wasn't controlled drama. This was raw, unpredictable, and potentially explosive. One organizer was overheard saying this could ruin the night or make it legendary. Claressa's team urged her again to step back, reminding her of upcoming fights, endorsements, and the image she worked so hard to build. Remy's friend whispered something into her ear that made her expression darken, her jaw tightening as she stared straight at Claressa without blinking. Then came the line that changed the tone completely. Claressa said this wasn't just about comments, it was about respect and family. She hinted that something Remy said involved people close to her, something deeply personal. The crowd went silent. Fans are shocked at how serious it suddenly became. Remy's smile vanished, replaced by a hard stare. She asked Claressa not to bring family into it if she didn't want things to go too far. Those words landed heavy, and for a split second, everyone thought it might actually turn physical. Security tightened their grip, pushing them further apart, but the damage was already done. The confrontation had crossed from entertainment into something deeply personal. Claressa yelled that she wouldn't be silenced anymore, not by industry politics or fear. Remy responded that she had survived worse than public backlash and wasn't afraid of any storm Claressa thought she could bring. Fans watching later would say this was the moment everything shifted, when it stopped being a viral clip and became a full-blown feud. As they were finally separated and led in opposite directions, both women kept talking, their voices echoing down the hallway. Claressa promised this wasn't over, that the truth always comes out. Remy warned that some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. The crowd slowly dispersed, buzzing with speculation, replaying the moment in their minds. Phones were already uploading, captions already forming, and the internet was about to explode. Nobody knew it yet, but this confrontation was only the beginning, and the fallout was about to drag in friends, family, and fans in ways no one expected, setting the stage for a chain reaction that would shake both worlds to their core. By the time the doors slammed shut behind them, the story had already grown bigger than either of them could control. Within minutes, clips of the face-off flooded social media, slowed down, zoomed in, dissected by fans who swore they could see everything in their eyes. Fans are shocked at how raw it looked, how unscripted, how personal. Claressa paced the private room she was taken to, her hands shaking not from fear, but from anger she had been holding back for far too long. Her team tried to calm her down, but she kept repeating that this was exactly what she meant, exactly what she had warned people about. She said she was tired of being tested, tired of being talked about like she wasn't in the room. On the other side of the building, Remy Ma sat stone-faced, scrolling through her phone as notifications poured in faster than she could read. Her friends told her the internet was already choosing sides, that hashtags were trending, that everyone wanted her response. Remy scoffed and said she wasn't about to explain herself to anyone. She claimed Claressa came at her with built-up resentment, that she simply refused to play fake. But even as she said it, those closest to her noticed something was off. She wasn't joking. She wasn't laughing. She was calculating. Within an hour, blogs began posting alleged backstories. Anonymous sources claimed this feud went back to a private charity event months earlier, where Claressa felt disrespected after Remy joked about athletes needing rappers to stay relevant. At the time, Claressa laughed it off publicly, but according to insiders, it cut deep. Claressa had fought too hard, bled too much, to be dismissed as entertainment for someone else's narrative. Emotions ran high as fans debated whether Remy crossed a line or Claressa overreacted. The family was left divided, with some urging silence and others demanding a full exposé. Claressa finally sat down and opened her phone, recording and deleting videos again and again. She wanted to speak, to defend herself, but she also knew every word could be used against her. Her sister reminded her of how quickly public opinion flips, how yesterday's hero becomes today's villain. Claressa replied that staying quiet had never protected her before. She said if she didn't control the story now, it would be twisted beyond recognition. Those around her felt the shift, realizing she was preparing for war, not just online but emotionally. Meanwhile, Remy's camp wasn't staying silent either. A close friend allegedly leaked a message thread to a popular gossip page, hinting that Claressa had been chasing a collaboration and felt rejected. The implication was clear, painting Claressa as bitter and attention-hungry. Fans are shocked at how fast the narrative turned. Claressa saw the post and nearly threw her phone. She said it was a lie, a complete fabrication meant to embarrass her. She accused Remy of playing dirty, of letting others smear her name while keeping her own hands clean. The tension spilled into their inner circles. Mutual friends were suddenly forced to choose sides. One longtime supporter of both women publicly unfollowed Remy, while another reposted a quote about fake strength. Fans noticed everything. Screenshots circulated. Theories multiplied. Some believed this was all calculated hype. Others insisted it was too real, too messy to be staged. Emotions ran high as the story evolved by the hour. Late that night, Claressa finally posted a short message. She didn't name Remy, but everyone knew who it was about. She wrote that strength wasn't just physical, that respect mattered, and that she would no longer tolerate quiet disrespect. The post went viral instantly. Comments flooded in, praising her courage, but also warning her not to poke the bear. Remy responded minutes later with a cryptic post of her own, saying she never feared confrontation and that truth doesn't need volume. The internet exploded. Fans are shocked at how openly they were now challenging each other. Behind closed doors, families were feeling the pressure. Claressa's mother reportedly worried this drama could distract her from training, from the discipline that made her a champion. Remy's loved ones feared old narratives resurfacing, past controversies being dragged back into the spotlight. The family was left divided, torn between protecting their own and letting them fight their battles publicly. Both women insisted they were fine, but those closest to them could see the toll it was taking. As the night turned into morning, media outlets lined up for statements, interviews, reactions. Neither woman gave in, but the silence itself became fuel. Fans refreshed their feeds non-stop, waiting for the next move. Would Claressa release the receipts she hinted at? Would Remy finally speak directly, unfiltered? The face-off had ended, but the war had only just begun, and the tension hanging in the air promised that the next chapter would be even more explosive than the first. By the second day, the tension had fully escaped the control of both camps. Morning talk shows dissected the confrontation like it was a championship fight, replaying the clip over and over while commentators argued about who blinked first. Fans are shocked by how many so-called insiders suddenly appeared, each claiming to know the real truth. Claressa woke up to missed calls and messages from people she hadn't spoken to in years, all asking the same thing: was she really going to expose everything? She sat quietly for a long time before responding to anyone, staring at the ceiling as if weighing how much of herself she was willing to put on display. Training that day felt different. Every punch she threw carried frustration, every breath heavier than usual. Her coach noticed immediately and pulled her aside, warning her that distractions had ended careers faster than injuries ever could. Claressa snapped back that disrespect was the real distraction, that ignoring it only made it worse. Emotions ran high as she admitted she felt cornered, like no matter what she did, someone was always ready to question her strength, her legitimacy, her place. That vulnerability shocked her team, who were used to seeing her unbreakable. Across town, Remy finally decided silence was no longer an option. She went live unexpectedly, sitting in a dimly lit room with no glam, no music, just her and the camera. Her tone was calm but sharp. She said she wasn't going to beg for understanding or play into anyone's victim narrative. She claimed she had shown respect privately and publicly, and that Claressa mistook honesty for hate. Fans are shocked at how composed she seemed, but those who knew her well could hear the anger underneath every word. The live only made things worse. Within minutes, viewers clipped certain phrases, twisting them into accusations and counter-accusations. Claressa watched the replay with her jaw clenched, replaying one line over and over where Remy said some people confuse titles with character. Claressa slammed her phone down and said that was it. She told her sister she was done protecting people who never protected her. She opened a folder on her laptop, one she hadn't touched in months, filled with screenshots, voice notes, and messages that told a very different story. When rumors spread that Claressa had receipts, panic quietly set in for people connected to both sides. Mutual friends called frantically, asking her not to drag them into it. One former supporter begged her to reconsider, saying the fallout would be ugly and permanent. The family was left divided again, some encouraging her to clear her name once and for all, others begging her to think about the long game. Claressa listened, but her mind was already made up. She said silence had cost her peace, and she was done paying that price. That evening, she released a carefully worded statement alongside a blurred screenshot, just enough to prove she wasn't bluffing. She accused Remy of saying one thing in private and another in public, of using industry spaces to belittle her while pretending to uplift her. She didn't release everything, but she didn't need to. The internet exploded instantly. Fans are shocked at how quickly sympathy shifted. People who had doubted her began apologizing. Others accused her of clout chasing. The comment sections turned into war zones. Remy's reaction was immediate and furious. Sources say she felt betrayed, not just exposed but manipulated. She fired back with her own post, denying context, claiming the messages were misunderstood and selectively shared. She said Claressa was trying to rewrite history to paint herself as a hero. Emotions ran high as both sides accused the other of lying, and fans took it personally, defending their favorites like family. Behind the scenes, the pressure reached a breaking point. Brands started making quiet calls, contracts were reviewed, appearances reconsidered. Claressa worried her hard-earned credibility could be overshadowed by drama. Remy feared old narratives resurfacing, headlines focusing on conflict instead of growth. Both women privately admitted to feeling trapped by the spectacle they helped create. Neither wanted to back down, but neither felt victorious. Things took an unexpected turn when a third voice entered the conversation. A mutual industry figure hinted publicly that both sides were telling half-truths, that the real story involved egos, misunderstandings, and people stirring the pot for entertainment. Fans are shocked as speculation shifted again. Some began questioning whether they had been manipulated by selective storytelling. Others doubled down, insisting loyalty meant choosing a side no matter what. Late one night, Claressa received a message she never expected, a private note from Remy herself. It wasn't an apology, but it wasn't an attack either. Remy wrote that things had gone too far, that the internet didn't deserve every detail of their personal issues. Claressa stared at the message for a long time before replying. She said she never wanted a public war, only respect. That single exchange, unseen by fans, cracked open a door neither had planned to reopen. The next day, both women noticeably slowed their posting. The noise didn't stop, but the fuel did. Fans speculated non-stop about secret conversations and possible resolutions. Some claimed they were negotiating peace. Others believed it was all strategy. The family was left divided but cautiously hopeful, sensing that the storm might finally be losing strength. Still, unresolved tension lingered. Nothing had been officially settled. Trust was broken, words were said that couldn't be unsaid. Claressa returned to training with renewed focus but visible scars from the emotional battle. Remy retreated from the spotlight, choosing her next move carefully. Fans are shocked by the sudden quiet, knowing silence can be louder than shouting. Everyone could feel it, this wasn't truly over. Whether it ended in reconciliation or another explosive reveal remained uncertain. The face-off that started it all had evolved into something deeper, messier, and far more revealing than anyone expected. And as the internet held its breath, one question remained unanswered: was this the calm before peace, or the pause before an even bigger storm? The quiet didn't last. By the end of the week, the industry started moving again, and when it moved, it shook everything. A leaked email surfaced online, allegedly from an event organizer, hinting that Claressa and Remy were both warned weeks earlier to keep distance because of known friction. Fans are shocked by the implication that this confrontation wasn't as sudden as it looked. Claressa felt blindsided. She said this proved people knew there was tension and let it explode anyway for views and clicks. The idea that her emotions were treated like content sent her over the edge. She broke her silence again, this time with her voice, posting a raw audio clip where she spoke directly to fans. She said she felt used, cornered, and pushed into a moment she had tried to avoid. Her voice trembled when she talked about how hard it was to be strong all the time, how exhausting it felt to always be expected to take the high road. Emotions ran high as fans flooded her with support, saying they finally saw the human behind the champion. Others accused her of overplaying it, claiming vulnerability only appeared when the narrative turned against her. Remy watched the reaction closely. Those close to her said she felt the tide shifting again and hated the feeling of being misunderstood. She insisted she never wanted Claressa hurt, only honest. But honesty, she admitted privately, doesn't always land the way you intend. The family was left divided once more, with some urging her to publicly clear the air and others telling her to let the storm pass. Remy wrestled with the decision, knowing anything she said could reignite the fire. Then came the twist no one expected. A longtime mutual friend stepped forward publicly, naming themselves and telling their version of the story. They claimed both women confided in them separately, both feeling disrespected, both feeling unheard. Fans are shocked as the narrative cracked open again. According to this friend, small comments snowballed into assumptions, assumptions into resentment, and resentment into that viral face-off. They said there were no villains, only pride and pain colliding in public. Claressa reacted first, sharing the post and adding that misunderstandings don't excuse public disrespect. She said accountability still mattered. Remy responded hours later, saying she agreed mistakes were made but refused to carry blame alone. Emotions ran high as fans argued whether shared fault meant shared forgiveness. Some begged for peace, Others demanded one final showdown, craving resolution the way reality TV trains people to crave closure. Behind the scenes, negotiations quietly began. Not for a fight or a collaboration, but for control. Both teams wanted the narrative to stop spiraling. There were talks of a private meeting, off camera, no phones, no witnesses. Claressa hesitated, worried it would be spun as weakness. Remy hesitated too, afraid anything less than domination would be seen as defeat. Still, the exhaustion was real. Both had lost sleep, focus, and peace. The meeting eventually happened in a neutral space, far from flashing lights. The air was tense, thick with everything unsaid. When they finally spoke, voices were low, guarded. Claressa admitted she felt dismissed in spaces she worked hard to earn respect in. Remy admitted she underestimated how her words could land outside her world. Neither apologized fully, but both listened. Fans would never hear the details, only speculate, but those close enough sensed something shifted. Even so, the internet wasn't ready to let go. Conspiracy theories spread, claiming the peace talks were fake, a setup for a bigger reveal. Fans are shocked by how invested they felt, like this was their drama too. Claressa posted less, training harder, channeling anger into discipline. Remy focused on music again, hinting at lyrics inspired by recent chaos. Every move was watched, analyzed, overinterpreted. Another wave hit when a clip resurfaced from years ago, showing Remy making a joke eerily similar to the one that allegedly sparked everything. Critics pounced, saying it proved a pattern. Supporters argued growth meant not being chained to old words. The family was left divided yet again, tired of reliving the same wounds through strangers' opinions. Claressa felt the sting but refused to comment, saying privately she was done letting the past dictate her present. Then Claressa's next fight was announced. Suddenly, the narrative shifted from drama to destiny. Fans wondered if the emotional turmoil would weaken her or sharpen her edge. Claressa said she was fighting for more than a belt now, she was fighting for clarity, for peace, for herself. Remy publicly wished her luck, a small gesture that sent shockwaves through comment sections. Fans are shocked at how a single line could mean so much. Still, unresolved questions lingered. Were things truly settled, or just paused? Did respect finally replace resentment, or was this just another chapter waiting to unfold? Neither woman gave the audience a neat ending, and that uncertainty kept people hooked. Emotions ran high because real feelings were involved, not just headlines. As weeks passed, the noise slowly softened, but the impact remained. Both women emerged changed, more guarded, more aware of how quickly moments turn into movements. Fans debated who won, who lost, and whether anyone really does in situations like this. The family was left divided but healing, hoping lessons were learned even if scars remained. In the end, the face-off that went viral became something bigger than a clip. It became a mirror, reflecting ego, pain, and the cost of living in the spotlight. And even as the world moved on to the next headline, one thing stayed clear: this story wasn't just about confrontation, it was about what happens after the cameras stop rolling, when the applause fades, and you're left alone with the words you can't take back. The weeks that followed felt heavier than the chaos itself. Once the noise faded, what remained was a strange pressure neither Claressa nor Remy could fully escape. Every appearance, every post, every silence was treated like a statement. Claressa tried to lock back into her routine, waking before sunrise, pushing her body until exhaustion drowned out lingering thoughts. Still, between rounds, her mind drifted back to that night, to the words exchanged, to how quickly strength had turned into vulnerability in front of millions. People around her noticed the change. She smiled less. She spoke carefully. When teammates joked about the drama, she shut it down instantly. She said she didn't want to be remembered for an argument when she had spent her life building a legacy. Emotions ran high privately, even when she stayed calm in public. Some nights she replayed everything, wondering if she could have walked away sooner, if silence would have saved her peace, or if speaking up was the only way she could breathe again. Remy wasn't untouched either. She poured herself into the studio, writing late into the night, using rhythm to process everything she couldn't say out loud. Her lyrics grew sharper, more reflective, lines about pride, miscommunication, and the danger of being misunderstood. Friends said she seemed focused but distant, like someone carrying a weight they refused to admit was heavy. The family was left divided still, with some praising her restraint and others questioning whether restraint came too late. Then the media cycle shifted again. An interview surfaced from a secondary figure loosely connected to both camps, someone hungry for attention. They claimed the feud was far from over, that egos don't heal that easily. Fans are shocked as speculation reignited. Claressa's phone buzzed non-stop with requests for comment. She ignored them all, choosing discipline over distraction, but inside she felt the familiar frustration of having her story told by strangers. Remy saw the same interview and shook her head. She said nothing publicly, but privately she wondered if closure was ever really possible when the internet thrived on open wounds. She admitted to a close friend that part of her missed the fire, the clarity that comes with confrontation. Silence, she said, leaves too much room for imagination. Emotions ran high as she debated whether to break that silence one last time or let time do what words could not. When Claressa's fight night finally arrived, the arena buzzed with more than sports energy. Commentators hinted at the drama without naming it. Fans held signs referencing strength beyond the ring. Claressa walked out focused, eyes forward, jaw set. Every punch she threw carried more than training behind it. When she won decisively, the roar was deafening. Fans are shocked at how dominant she looked, how calm afterward. In her brief post-fight words, she thanked supporters and said growth sometimes comes through discomfort. Nothing more, nothing less. Remy watched the highlights alone. She nodded, genuinely impressed, and for the first time allowed herself to feel relief instead of tension. She posted a single line congratulating Claressa, no emojis, no extra commentary. The reaction was immediate. Fans flooded her mentions, shocked by the gesture, arguing whether it meant peace or performance. The family was left divided again, some relieved, others skeptical. Days later, Claressa acknowledged the message with a quiet thank you. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional, but it mattered. Insiders said it was the closest thing to mutual respect they had shown publicly since everything began. Still, neither woman claimed resolution. They understood now that closure doesn't always come with apologies or explanations. Sometimes it comes with distance and restraint. Yet even as things settled, the story refused to fully die. Documentaries were pitched. Podcasts requested interviews. Everyone wanted the inside version, the unfiltered truth. Claressa declined most offers, saying she didn't want her pain packaged as entertainment. Remy turned down a few too, but teased that her music would speak eventually. Fans are shocked at how both women learned to control access instead of reacting. Months passed. New headlines replaced old ones. But the impact lingered quietly. Claressa became more selective with her circle, protecting her space fiercely. Remy chose her words more carefully in public, understanding how far they could travel. Both had learned the cost of being real in a world that monetizes reaction. Occasionally, their names still appeared in the same sentence, usually framed as a lesson rather than a conflict. People debated who changed more, who handled it better, who really won. The truth was less satisfying than the spectacle. Nobody truly won, but nobody completely lost either. What remained was growth shaped by discomfort, scars hidden beneath success, and an unspoken understanding between two powerful women who crossed paths at the wrong moment. Fans would always remember the face-off, the intensity, the shock. But for Claressa and Remy, the real story was what happened after, when they had to live with the echoes, learn from them, and move forward without the applause. And somewhere beneath the headlines and hashtags, both knew the same thing. That night didn't define them. How they handled everything after did. Time didn't erase everything, it just softened the sharpest edges. Months later, the story still lingered in unexpected places. A comment here, a clip resurfacing there, a fan asking a question during a live stream that made the room go quiet. Claressa learned how to redirect, how to smile without opening old doors. She told herself that growth meant not explaining every scar. Still, there were moments when the memory crept in, usually late at night, when the house was quiet and the noise of the world finally faded. She thought often about respect, how hard she fought for it, how easily it slipped away in rooms where she wasn't fully understood. That face-off had forced her to confront a painful truth, that strength doesn't always protect you from being hurt, and silence doesn't always protect you from being misunderstood. Emotions ran high internally even when she appeared calm, because she knew the audience only ever saw fragments, never the full weight she carried. Remy, in her own way, was also changed. Her music evolved, layered with reflection and restraint. People noticed it immediately, commenting that something felt deeper, heavier. She never confirmed what inspired it, but fans are shocked at how clearly they could hear echoes of conflict, pride, and self-awareness woven between the bars. She said once in an interview that sometimes you don't realize how loud you are until the room goes quiet, and that single line sent speculation spiraling again. There were moments when their paths nearly crossed again, industry events where schedules were adjusted at the last minute, rooms carefully rearranged to avoid another spark. Both women were aware of it, aware of how carefully others tried to control the narrative around them now. The family was left divided in subtle ways, with some members tired of caution and others grateful for it. Nobody wanted a repeat, but nobody fully trusted the calm either. Fans, of course, never forgot. They debated endlessly whether the conflict was necessary, whether it taught lessons or caused unnecessary pain. Some said it exposed how women are pitted against each other for entertainment. Others argued accountability required confrontation. Emotions ran high in comment sections long after the story stopped trending. Claressa read less of it. Remy claimed she read none, though her friends knew better. Then came an unexpected moment that shifted everything again, quietly, without cameras. They were both invited to the same closed-door panel, a small industry discussion with no phones allowed. There was no announcement, no hype. When they realized they would be in the same room, both hesitated. Walking away would have been easy. Staying required courage of a different kind. The room was tense but respectful. They didn't sit near each other. They didn't speak directly, but they listened to the same conversations about representation, respect, and responsibility. At one point, someone spoke about how public figures carry the weight of projection, how audiences turn humans into symbols. Claressa felt the words land hard. Remy did too. For the first time, they shared space without confrontation, without performance. Afterward, as people filtered out, their eyes met briefly. There was no smile, no glare. Just recognition. A silent acknowledgement of everything that had happened and everything that didn't need to be said anymore. Fans would never know about that moment, but it mattered more than any post or statement ever could. Life moved forward. Claressa continued to win, to push boundaries, to demand respect through excellence. Remy released her project, earning praise for its honesty and depth. Both were celebrated again for their work rather than their conflict. Fans are shocked at how quickly narratives can change when given something new to focus on. Still, the lesson remained. Both women became more protective of their energy, more aware of how quickly misunderstandings turn into movements. They learned that the internet doesn't need truth, it needs tension, and that peace is often quieter than chaos. The family was left divided less by loyalty and more by exhaustion, grateful the worst seemed behind them. Occasionally, someone would ask if they were cool now. Neither gave a direct answer. Claressa said she wished everyone growth. Remy said she believed in evolution. Those vague responses frustrated fans who wanted closure, but closure isn't always public. Sometimes it's private, imperfect, and unfinished. The face-off that once dominated headlines slowly became a reference point rather than a wound. People spoke about it as a reminder of how quickly moments escalate, how fame magnifies emotion. Claressa looked back on it as a turning point, not because of the drama, but because it forced her to redefine strength on her own terms. Remy saw it as a mirror, one that showed her how words travel further than intention. In the end, there was no dramatic reconciliation, no explosive final chapter. Just two powerful women moving forward separately, carrying lessons instead of grudges. Fans are shocked when they realize that real life rarely offers the endings they expect. Sometimes the biggest resolution is learning to live without one. And long after the clip stopped circulating, after the comments slowed and the debates cooled, the truth settled quietly. That night wasn't about winning or losing. It was about collision, consequence, and growth. And while the world watched for spectacle, the real transformation happened away from the spotlight, where voices softened, perspectives shifted, and strength learned how to coexist with restraint. Even after everything seemed settled, the aftermath continued to ripple in quiet, unexpected ways. Claressa began noticing how people spoke to her differently, more cautiously, as if unsure which version of her they were allowed to acknowledge. She felt boxed in by perception, either the unbreakable champion or the emotional woman who dared to speak up. There was no room, it seemed, for both. That realization weighed on her more than the confrontation itself. Emotions ran high internally as she questioned how much of herself she had to hide to be accepted. During training camps, younger fighters started approaching her with a new kind of respect, not just for her skill, but for her honesty. Some told her they felt seen, that watching her stand her ground made them feel less alone in an industry that often silences discomfort. Those moments grounded her. They reminded her that even messy situations can have meaning beyond headlines. Still, she couldn't ignore the nights when doubt crept in, whispering that maybe the cost had been too high. Remy experienced a similar duality. Audiences praised her growth, her restraint, her depth, but critics questioned whether she had softened too much. She laughed it off publicly, saying evolution isn't weakness. Privately, though, she wrestled with the idea that people only celebrate change when it fits a comfortable narrative. Emotions ran high as she realized how often strength is mistaken for aggression and reflection mistaken for retreat. One afternoon, a journalist asked Claressa if she regretted that night. The question lingered longer than expected. Claressa paused before answering, choosing her words carefully. She said regret wasn't the right word, that she regretted the circumstances but not her voice. That quote circulated widely, resonating with people far beyond sports. Fans are shocked at how a single sentence could reframe an entire story. Remy saw the quote and nodded to herself. She later echoed a similar sentiment in a separate interview, saying conflict reveals more than it destroys if you're willing to listen. The parallels didn't go unnoticed. Fans speculated again, wondering if this was coordinated, if some unspoken understanding existed. The truth was simpler. Both women were processing the same experience from different angles, arriving at similar conclusions without ever needing to agree publicly. Over time, the industry adjusted. Invitations became clearer. Boundaries were respected more openly. Claressa noticed fewer backhanded comments, fewer tests disguised as jokes. Remy found her words carried a different weight now, listened to more carefully, questioned less aggressively. The family was left divided no longer by sides but by perspective, some believing the storm was necessary, others wishing it never happened. There were moments of irony too. A year later, a new viral feud erupted between two rising stars, eerily similar in tone and escalation. Commentators referenced Claressa and Remy's situation as a cautionary tale. Claressa watched from a distance, hoping the younger generation would learn faster than she had. Remy commented privately that watching history repeat itself was exhausting. Both knew how quickly a spark becomes a wildfire. Occasionally, Claressa and Remy's names were still paired in think pieces about power, pride, and public perception. Neither corrected the narratives anymore. They had learned that fighting every version of a story leaves you with no energy to live your own. Emotions ran high less often now, replaced by a quiet resilience built from experience. One evening, Claressa attended a small community event without cameras or press. A young girl asked her how to stay strong when people don't believe in you. Claressa smiled softly and said strength isn't about proving people wrong, it's about knowing who you are when they're loud and you're tired. That answer stayed with her long after the event ended. Remy, around the same time, mentored a young artist struggling with backlash after speaking their truth. She told them that honesty always has a price, but silence charges interest. Fans are shocked when quotes like these surface later, realizing how much wisdom was forged in moments of conflict. Years from now, people would still reference that face-off, still analyze body language and tone as if they could decode the entire truth from a few seconds of footage. Claressa accepted that reality. Remy did too. Both understood that public memory is stubborn, but personal growth doesn't need permission. What mattered most was that neither woman allowed that moment to freeze them in time. Claressa continued to redefine what dominance looked like, not just through victories but through composure. Remy continued to reshape her voice, proving that depth and edge can coexist. Fans may argue endlessly about who was right or wrong, but the women at the center of it learned to live beyond the argument. The family was left divided once by shock, then by opinion, and finally united by acceptance. Everyone involved learned something uncomfortable but necessary about communication, ego, and the cost of being visible. Emotions ran high when lessons were fresh, but softened as understanding replaced reaction. In the end, the story didn't conclude with a dramatic apology or a public embrace. It ended the way most real stories do, quietly, unevenly, with people carrying forward what they learned and leaving the rest behind. The face-off went viral, but the growth that followed happened off-screen, unseen, and far more important. And while the world moved on to the next spectacle, Claressa and Remy moved forward with something far less flashy but far more valuable: perspective. Even with perspective gained, there were days when the weight of it all returned without warning. Claressa would be mid-interview, answering a routine question, when she'd catch a familiar look in someone's eyes, curiosity mixed with expectation, waiting for her to slip, waiting for drama to resurface. She learned to redirect gracefully, but inside, emotions ran high. It was exhausting being reduced to a moment when her life had been built on years of discipline. She reminded herself daily that legacy is louder than noise, even when the noise feels endless. Remy felt it too in subtler ways. Collaborations came with disclaimers, conversations prefaced with caution. People laughed nervously around her, unsure how far honesty could go. She hated that. She had built her name on raw expression, not tiptoeing. Yet she understood now that words don't just belong to the speaker once released. They become weapons, mirrors, or shields depending on who's listening. That awareness didn't silence her, but it sharpened her intention. Fans continued to debate long after both women stopped engaging. Reaction videos dissected silence the way they once dissected shouting. Fans are shocked at how obsessed people became with meaning, assigning narratives to every pause, every unfollow, every neutral statement. The family was left divided again briefly when an old clip resurfaced out of context, reigniting arguments that had already been laid to rest. Claressa refused to respond. Remy refused too. That mutual restraint spoke louder than any rebuttal ever could. Time brought new challenges. Claressa faced criticism unrelated to the feud, proving that public pressure never truly disappears, it just changes shape. She handled it with more patience than before, less reactive, more grounded. People noticed. Commentators said she seemed different now, calmer, more centered. They didn't know how hard that calm was earned. Emotions ran high privately as she admitted to a close friend that she missed the simplicity of being judged solely on performance. Remy released another project, and once again, listeners searched for hidden meanings. Fans are shocked at how deeply people read into art when they feel personally invested. Remy laughed about it in private, saying sometimes a line is just a line. Other times, she admitted, it's a scar disguised as poetry. She accepted that both could be true without explanation. There were moments of almost connection, like when Claressa praised a song in passing during a casual conversation, unaware it would be reported as a peace signal. Remy heard about it later and smiled quietly. No response was needed. That was the rhythm they had found, acknowledgement without obligation. Industry veterans began referencing their situation as an example of unchecked escalation, of how quickly personal grievances turn into public property. Younger talents listened closely. Claressa noticed it during gym visits, when fighters asked her about handling disrespect. She told them not every battle needs an audience, but every boundary needs enforcement. That balance, she said, takes time to learn. Emotions ran high when she realized she was now teaching lessons she once had to learn the hard way. Remy echoed similar sentiments when mentoring artists. She told them honesty doesn't mean saying everything immediately. Timing matters. Intention matters. She admitted she was still learning that herself. Fans are shocked when they hear that vulnerability from someone known for fearlessness, but it only deepened her respect. There were rumors occasionally, whispers of a joint appearance, a sit-down interview, a symbolic truce. Neither entertained it. They understood now that the public doesn't always deserve access to healing. The family was left divided less by loyalty and more by fatigue, tired of reopening doors that had finally closed. Years down the line, the viral clip felt dated, grainy, almost unreal. New stars, new scandals, new narratives took over. Claressa watched it once by accident and felt oddly detached, like watching a stranger. Remy avoided it entirely. Both had moved beyond needing to revisit that version of themselves. What stayed with them wasn't the argument, but the aftermath. The way words echoed longer than expected. The way strength had to be redefined. Claressa learned that vulnerability doesn't weaken dominance, it humanizes it. Remy learned that silence can be a statement when chosen, not forced. Emotions ran high during those realizations, but they were grounding rather than overwhelming. Fans eventually accepted that there would be no explosive finale, no dramatic reconciliation scene. Some were disappointed. Others matured alongside the story, recognizing that real life rarely delivers cinematic endings. The family was left divided once by spectacle, then reunited by time, understanding that growth doesn't need applause. In quieter moments, Claressa felt proud, not of surviving the feud, but of evolving through it. Remy felt the same. They never became friends, never needed to. Respect existed now, not loud or performative, but steady. That was enough. The face-off that once dominated feeds became a footnote in much larger stories, referenced but no longer defining. People moved on, as they always do. But the lessons lingered for those paying attention. That conflict doesn't always demand victory. That ego can be both armor and obstacle. That being seen is powerful, but being understood is rare. And so, without fanfare, without announcements, the story settled into its final form. Not as a feud resolved, but as a moment survived. Claressa and Remy continued forward on separate paths, carrying wisdom forged in public fire. Fans may forever argue about who was right, who was wrong, who started it, who finished it. But the truth lived quietly elsewhere, in the choices made afterward, in the restraint shown when reaction would have been easier, in the growth no camera ever captured. And now it's your turn. After everything you've just heard, after the tension, the silence, the fallout, and the lessons that came with it, one question still hangs in the air. Whose side are you really on, and did this confrontation change the way you see either of them? Fans are shocked, opinions are divided, and emotions are still running high long after the cameras stopped rolling. Some believe Claressa was right to finally speak up. Others feel Remy was misunderstood and unfairly painted, and many of you are still asking whether this story ever truly had a winner. This is where you come in. If this story kept you hooked from start to finish, if you felt the intensity, the pressure, and the weight of every moment, make sure you show it. Hit that like button so more people can hear this story and decide for themselves. If you haven't already, subscribe right now, because stories like this don't stop here. More drama, more twists, and more moments the internet can't stop talking about are coming. Most importantly, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this face-off was inevitable, or could it have been avoided? Was silence the better choice, or was speaking up necessary no matter the cost? Do you believe real respect was found in the end, or is this just a pause before another storm? Your voice matters here, and this conversation doesn't end without you. Stay tuned, stay watching, and remember, in a world where moments go viral in seconds, the real story is always deeper than the clip.